Hi, in today's class, I'm going to explain. I mean, you will be able to review and apply the previously learned areas, perimeter, volume rules. And we use these rules to solve combination of figures and solids in real world scenarios. Okay, so now let's jump to the questions. But before that, let's quickly review the formulae. Now these are the formulae. You see that area of a square is side times sides, area of a rectangle, area of triangle. In fact, you know all these rules. So let's make use of these rules and solve the problems. Let's go to the next page. Well, the first question of the day. A capsule is in the shape of a cylinder with two hemispheres stuck to each of its ends. If the length of the entire capsule is 12 millimeters and the diameter of the capsule is in my previous sessions also I clearly mentioned, please be careful with this one. The diameter is 3 millimeters. So let me write quickly what the radius is. Radius is half of the diameter. Therefore, 3 millimeters means half of 3. That gives me 1.5 millimeters. And how much medicine it can hold. Now, I see that there are three parts. One is a cylindrical part. So I have to find volume of a cylinder, this one. And next, I see that here there is a hemisphere which is half of a sphere, right? And the other end is there is another hemisphere. Therefore, two hemispheres that makes one sphere. Okay. So my bad. So here you see that on both these sides there are two hemispheres. Do you see that on both these sides there are two hemispheres? Now, if I combine these two, what happens is you'll get one complete sphere, right? Let me make this one a little bigger. Again, on both the ends of the capsule, you see that two hemispheres, and when you combine, when you join them, what happens is you'll get one complete sphere, right? Therefore, keeping this one in view, what I'm doing is instead of computing two hemispheres, I decide to compute one sphere. Does it make sense? Like this one plus I have to compute, let me write here, volume of a sphere. There is nothing wrong if you want to, you can compute volume of two hemispheres separately. There is nothing wrong. So volume of cylinder is, you know that it is pi times radius square times height. Now let me plug in these values. Pi times what is the radius means already we figured it, this one as 1.5. Therefore it is 1.5 square times height means you know the total length is given as 12 millimeters, the total, right? Now if you want the height of the cylinder or say length of the cylinder here, I have to cut 1.5 here and 1.5 here so that I'll be left with the remaining part. I repeat, this is not a part of the cylinder, therefore 1.5 is to be removed because already we knew that the radius is 1.5, right? The other end, another 1.5 is to be removed. So technically 1.5 and 1.5 means I have to take away 3 millimeters. So from 12, if I take away 3 millimeters, then here the cylinder height or cylinder length is going to be this is going to be 9 millimeters. That's what I'm taking here. Now let me quickly grab my calculator and pi, which is 3.14 times 1.5 square times 9. That's clear. Oops, my apologies. Let me clear it off. It is 3.14, which is pi value, times radius square is 1.5 times 1.5 times height is 9. So that is giving me 63.585. 63.585. So just I am rounding this one to 59 cubic millimeters. Now coming to volume of a sphere, as I mentioned before, you have to memorize all the rules. So 4 by 3 pi times radius cube. So 4 by 3 times pi value is 3.14, radius already we discussed that it is 1.5. So just grab your calculator. It is 4 divided by 3 times pi is 3.14 times radius is 1.5 cube. The result is 14.13. 14.13 cubic millimeters. In my previous sessions also I mentioned that when you sum up, then you'll get the total volume. Therefore this is to be added to 63.59. That is giving me 77.72 cubic millimeters or millimeters cube. That's the total volume. Any questions? Waiting. Well, if you have any questions, please send an email. Let me go to the next page. If a kickball has a diameter, every time I'm reminding you, if diameter is given, first and foremost thing is find the radius. So which is half of 16, that gives you 8 inches. Radius is 8 inches. How much air could this ball contain? Ball means again it is the shape of a sphere, right? So if you are thinking of a sphere, I hope you know that how to find the volume of a sphere. Okay, so let me write that volume of a sphere, it is 4 by 3 pi times radius cube. Pretty easy. Now just plug in these numbers. 4 by 3, pi value 3.14. What is radius means? Radius is 8 inches. So 8 cube. Now let me grab my calculator. It is 4 divided by 3 times 3.14 times radius is 8 cube. Therefore, the result is 2143.57333333. So just I'm rounding to this one. Okay, these numbers are just we are taking randomly, so don't be surprised. What does a ball holds that much of air means? As I mentioned before, these are just some numbers randomly we picked up. Okay, let's go to the next question, because I'm not asking you about the doubts, because it's a pretty easy question. A cylindrical tree trunk is 12 yards tall from the ground to the first tree branch. Okay, and it measures 8 yards around to the nearest cubic yard. What is the volume? Okay, so there is a tree. There is a tree trunk. Then here the branches are there. Okay, so I'm not a good artist, so let's take only this part. Okay, this is the cylindrical trunk. Now it says that it is 12 yards tall. Therefore, the height of this one is 12 yards. Okay, to the first branch, and it measures. This is the really tricky part, that 8 yards around. 8 yards around means here the point is around 8 yards means that one represents. Observe carefully that it is all about. This is all about the around means the circumference. I repeat that it is the circumference. See, let me take a cylinder. Let me take a cylinder quickly. So, if you take a cylinder, okay, so if you take a cylinder and it is around means the question is about, see, around means that is about the circumference, right? Therefore, I have to take that circumference, this part as the circumference. So, circumference is given as 8 yards. Right? So let me write what is circumference of a circle formula, which is 2 times pi times radius. As I mentioned before, you have to memorize all these rules. Equals to 8. Now, can you figure out what is the value of radius means? Yes, you can. So before that, let me do some calculations. The value of pi, here 2 times the value of pi is 3.14 times radius equals to 8. So let me take my calculator. 2 times 3.14, it is 6.28 times radius equals to 8. You know how to isolate radius? Just go for division by 6.28 on both the sides. So you get what's the value of the radius. Okay, again, I'm repeating here the tricky part in this question is 8 yards around means that one represents the circumference, the tricky part of the question. Now let me take the calculator. 8 divided by 6.28, 1.273. Okay, 1.27 yards. Okay, so that's the radius. Now the question is what is the volume of this section? That means what is the volume of this trunk? Volume equals to volume of a cylinder. You know that volume of a cylinder is pi times radius square times h. Okay, as I mentioned before, you have to memorize all these rules. So it is 3.14. What is the radius means? Just now we computed that it is 1.27. Therefore, 1.27 square. And what is the height means? That is 12 units. Once when you plug in the numbers, take the calculator. It is 3.14 times 1.27 square times height is 12. Oops, my bad, there is some error. So 3.14 times 1.27 square times 12, 60.77. So 60.77 cubic yards. So again, this question seems to be a little difficult, and the tricky part is it is 8 yards around. That means the number represents that the circumference. So just write the circumference of a circumference of a circle rule, which is 2 times pi times radius. Then isolate radius. You can get the value of radius. Then take a volume of a cylinder condition, then plug in the numbers. Okay, so let me quickly jump to the next question. Oh, this question is a little tricky. The Highlander Hotel in Chicago can be represented as a square pyramid. So let me draw an imaginary diagram. Let's say that the base, oh, let me take a different color. Yeah, the base is a square. Okay, and it's the pyramid shape. Oh, it's a pyramid shape. Okay, I'm sorry, the diagram is not so great. Okay, the base area is 125,000 square feet. Therefore, base area means what are the shape of the base? It may be, let it be a square, rectangle, what it may be here. It's already given that it is 125,000 square feet. Okay, that has 22 stories, and each story is 12 feet tall. Here, a simple calculation is suppose if there is a multi-storied building. Okay, let's say that there are some 1, 2, 3, 4 floors. If each floor is at 10 feet tall, what is the total height of the building? It is 10 plus 10, 20, 20 plus 10, 30, 30 plus 10 is, it is 40. Right? Maybe 4 floors, each floor is 10 feet tall, means 4 times 10, that gives us 4 times 10 is 40. Right? In the same way, this Highlander Hotel is having 22 stories. So here there are 22 stories, and each story is at 12 feet tall. 12 feet tall. So here you have to understand one point is 12 feet tall means can I multiply 22 times 12? Again, I'm going back to my previous example. There is a 4 storied building. Each floor is 10 feet tall. What is the total height of the building means? Either you can add 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, that gives you 40, or else 4 stories. So 4 times 10, that gives you 40. In the same way here, 22 stories and each floor is 12 feet tall means may I multiply? Yes, that makes sense. Right? Therefore, let me remove this example first. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me not take. Okay. I don't know how to delete this one. Okay, let me take the eraser. Okay. Not bad. Not a bad idea. Right. Therefore, what is the total height means? What is the total height means? As I mentioned and I compared with my previous example, you have to multiply. Then you get the total height of the hotel here. Therefore, what is the total height means? Here I am writing that gives me total height equals to 22 times 12. Okay. Now the question is, what is the volume? What is the volume? You know, volume of a pyramid, volume of a pyramid equals to 1/3 area of base times height. So 1/3 area of base is already given as 125,000, that comes here. Okay, therefore, oops, it is 125,000 square feet. Then coming to height, here already explained that 22 times 12, I did not multiply, that comes here, whatever the number it may be. So therefore the height is 22 stories, each story is 12 feet tall. Okay, now at this point, grab the calculator. 20, sorry, one third 1/3 times 125,000 times 22 times 12. So, oh my gosh, such a large number. So, how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anyhow, we are computing the volume. So, cubic feet. So this is the volume. Okay. So here the question seems to be harder, but it is not. The tricky part is finding the height of the hotel. There are 22 stories and each story is 12 feet. Therefore, what is the total height means you have to multiply them. You have to multiply them. If you want, just let me remind you that example. Let's say that a four-storied building. Earlier, I have taken 10 feet, and now this time let me change the number. Let's say that each floor is 12 feet. So what is the total height means? You may add them like 12 plus 12, 24, 24 plus 12, 36, 36 plus 12. That gives me 48. This is one way of doing. Or else, I know that there are four stories and each story is 12 feet tall. Therefore, 4 times 12, that gives me 48. Right? So this is the total height. This is the total height. That makes sense. In the same way, in this hotel, there are 22 stories and each story is 12 feet tall. Therefore, when I multiply these two, I'll get the total height. Okay? Any questions? Waiting. Okay, let me jump to the next question. A farmer is buying a new water tank for his farm. His current tank is a cylinder that is 9 yards high and 6 yards wide. At the feed store, he is given two options that he could purchase. The first one has twice the width of the current tank but keeps the same height. The second one has twice the height of the current tank but keeps the same width. If both tanks cost the same amount of money, what is the volume of the? Okay, so here technically he is having two options. So let me take that. I'm not drawing the original one, but instead the first one has twice the width. If the width is twice, please see that here 6 yards wide means therefore option one comes with twice wider means instead of 6 yards wide means then it becomes as 12 yards wide. Width means from edge to edge. Okay. So the first one has twice the width and the current tank but keeps the same height. So same height means, please see that here the 9 yards high is given. Therefore, the height is going to be 9 yards. This is one option. And the second one has twice the height. Twice the height means this is taller than the first one, right? So, oh, it's not. So, okay, let me draw it. Okay. Now look at this one here. It says that the second one has twice the height. So height is 9 means then twice the height means 2 times 9, that becomes as here the 18 is the height, and keeps the same width. Same width means the width remains the same, which is 6 yards. Therefore, it is 6. So width means, please don't get confused, that is edge to edge, that represents the diameter. Okay, so always when diameter is given, your first and foremost thing is you compute what the radius is. Okay, here also the width means edge to edge, diameter is 12, therefore radius is half of the diameter, that gives you 6 yards. So, which is a good buy because you are going to spend the same money. So, you want you want more volume, right? So, let me compute what is the volume of cylinder, which is pi times radius square times height. So, the value of pi is 3.14. You can take it or else you can leave it as the value of pi. Then this one, what is radius square means? Radius is 6 yards, so it is 6 square. What is height means? It is 9. Then 6 square gives me 36 times 9 times pi. Therefore, 9 6 are 54, 9 is 27, 27 5, 32. My bad, it is 32. So 324 pi cubic yards. This is the volume of the first one. Coming to the second one, volume equals to pi r square h, pi times radius square times h. So pi times radius is it is not 6, radius is not 6, radius is 3. Therefore 3 square times h. H is 18. 3 square, that is 9. 9 times 18. 9 eights are 72. 9 ones are 9 plus 7, 16. So 162 pi. Obviously 324. This has more capacity than the second one. This is what will happen if you see the marketing strategy. Most of the companies produce a taller one but not the wider one, because the taller one seems to be holding more capacity, but it is not true. The wider one holds more capacity. As the price is same, then if I'm the farmer, obviously I'll go with the first option because the capacity is more. Okay. So again, don't get confused here. The first one has twice the width. Twice the width means, please see that here 6 yards wide means then twice means it becomes as 12. But again, width means here it is the diameter. Then what is the radius means half of the diameter. Okay. So let me quickly jump to the next questions. The next, there are a couple of questions. Let's quickly finish these two. The perimeter of a square tabletop is, in fact, in my previous session also I explained perimeter of a square. So let me write the condition. That is, perimeter of a square is 4 times side. Now, it's given as 18 feet, so please plug in the value here. So 18 equals to 4 times side You know how to isolate side division by 4. Division by 4. Therefore, the side is, I guess it is 4.5 feet. Yep, 4.5. And what size tablecloth is needed means, in my previous session also I discussed that tablecloth needed means, let's assume that this is the tablecloth to be placed on the table. Therefore, what to find means you have to find the area. Okay, so how to find the area of a square means, you know that it is side times side, side times side. Therefore, what are the side I got? That value to be plugged in here, which is 4.5 times 4.5. Make use of calculator. I know that it is 20.25. The units are given in feet, therefore square feet. It's a pretty easy one, and also this one I explained in the previous session. So let me quickly jump to the last question for today's session. You're on the golf course and get a drink from the water cooler. The cups are in the shape of a cone. Okay, so shape of a cone with diameter. Oh, again and again diameter is given. So, as I mentioned before, if diameter is given, first and foremost thing is find what the radius is. If diameter is 5 inches, obviously radius will be half of that. Half of that means 5 over 2, or maybe 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches. Okay. And height is 4 inches. Height is 4 inches. And the question is, what is the volume? Okay, so you are asked to find volume of a cone. So volume of a cone, please memorize all these rules. It is 1/3 pi r square h. Please memorize all the rules. So 1/3 pi value is 3.14. What is radius means it is 2.5 square. What is the height means, you see that it is 4 inches. Therefore, that goes here. Now take the calculator. So it is 1 over 3 times 3.14 times 2.5 square. Okay, times height is 4. 26.16. 26.16 cubic inches or inches cube. You know, these numbers, these all are the imaginary numbers. I mean, just I have taken some numbers randomly. Otherwise, you may get a doubt what a cup can hold this much quantity of water means. Uh, as I mentioned, some random numbers are taken. Okay, so I want you to practice as many questions as possible before you take the test. So that's it from me, and I want you to practice the given worksheet. That's it. Have a good afternoon, have a good evening, good night. Bye bye.